If you like to do plein air painting like I do, one of the biggest challenges is getting together a little compact palette to take with you. And I have tried numerous palettes, some luck with some of them. And a lot of them I just don't like because they're hard to seal, they still leak, even though they say they're airtight. So in this video, I'm going to show you a version that I created that I hope will work better. This was the latest one I tried for my gouache. And it has this sort of rubber lid that's supposed to fit tight over here, but it doesn't. And so I've ended up having to tape it down and put big rubber bands around it to keep the lid on. And you'll see when I open it that when the gouache and stuff is wet, it actually, you know, when you're carrying it around in a bag, sometimes you can't always set it flat. So some of the yellow, this was really wet, and some of that got in there. And it kind of becomes a mess. And, you know, the lid also, you'll see that it's got areas where the gouache has kind of gotten up in there. And over time, as this has been used, it's like this seal doesn't really seal anymore. And so it's kind of been a struggle for me to go out and paint with gouache and not kind of have a mess to work with. So I did a little searching around online and thought, well, let's see if I can come up with a better solution. So here's what I came up with. I found these little plastic containers online, and they come as this set. And what I thought I would do is, I remembered those little paint things that, you know, you used when you were a kid, right? With the little paint by number sets. So I thought, well, I could put individual colors in here and just put them in, you know, a tiny little box, right? So if my gouache is in here, I could essentially take 8 colors in this little container. So I could sort of pick the colors I want to take with me, or I have 2 boxes, I could actually do 16 colors and take them with me. That way I would just open the colors I need and put them in my box, right? So you just take the lid off and put them in the box, and then they're ready to go. And then when you're done, you just put the lid back on. So it doesn't matter if this thing gets tilted this way, it should not sort of get all over all of the other paints, and it's a way to keep them clean. So I found some little containers and then some containers that they will fit in. So I had to search around for something that would have the right height. And then this also came with a larger one. And I was debating on whether I wanted to do the 2 smaller ones or I wanted to do the larger one. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the larger one. And what I decided to do is I have these pieces of white PVC that I use to sort of tape things down when I'm painting with watercolor or gouache to keep the paper flat. So I had this extra piece that was a little bit dirty. So what I decided to do is cut this out so that it fits in here. What I wanted to do was leave a little bit of space in the front here because I like to take my water bottle with me. So that fits perfectly in there. I could also probably find some small like travel brushes that would fit in here. A lot of the, you know, acrylic brushes don't quite fit. Even the short-handled ones are too long. So it would have been great if this box was like 1 inch longer and a little bit narrower, but this is what I have to work with. So I'm going to work with that, and then these would basically just go inside of here. Now I thought, okay, but stuff is still going to slide around. So what's the best way to deal with this? I could hot glue gun this down to the bottom here, and then hot glue gun all of these on, which is originally what I was going to do. And then I realized that I'm kind of stuck with what's in here and I can't really swap out colors. So putting the little cups on something that sets in here means that I could remove it and change them. So what I decided I was going to do is I'm actually going to try to just put some Velcro strips down here so that this is just Velcroed in the box. And then I have these round Velcro dots. I'm going to put the dots on the bottom of the cups, and I can just put strips of Velcro here and just attach the cups. That way I can also remove and swap these out. So I thought I would give that a try. The other piece of Sintra that I had, or PVC that I had that was from this, I cut one to fit in here just full size that I can set on top, and when this closes everything fits to have this extra piece on top. And I was just going to use this as a little palette, right, to mix my paint. So everything is contained. The paint is in here, my palette's in here, my spray bottle's in here, and if I can find some little travel brushes that fit in here, I would really have everything contained into this one little container. So I'm going to see how that works. Now there's also these tiny little containers that came with this whole set, you know, which you could probably get in here as well if there was something else you needed to put in there. Sometimes I have clips, you know, if I'm taking a tablet to hold stuff down. You could put like a little charcoal in here or a pencil eraser. It might even be good to put in, you know, I don't even know. Like, it does fit in here though, so it's kind of nice that I have the option to put this back in there. So I'm not sure what I'll do with that yet. Now this one's also a little bigger, so for some reason there was something I needed for that. I could put this in here and just put less of these little containers in here. All right, so the first thing I think I'm going to do is Velcro this down to here. And then again, I could make multiple versions of this if I wanted to just keep paint on there in sets and just basically swap out the whole set. So I'm just going to cut this in half. And this is only like 1/4 inch Velcro. You know, this is a small board. It doesn't need to be super big. In fact, I'm actually going to cut a little bit of this off. Okay, so I'll just put one on each side. All right, and then this will go on here. And this will be the other side. So I'm going to put it on here. And then I'll pull the adhesive off and basically just set it in here. Make sure it's lined up. Oh, it's very sticky. Okay. And this would go all the way back and down. Okay. And then when I need to, I can just take that out and swap it out. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to put little round dots on the bottoms of my paint. containers. Now the downside to these is they don't have, like, these come off completely. So what I might do is have one of these available to throw the lids in when I take them off. The other reason I thought these might be cool is that then I can only open the colors that I need to use, and so the other ones aren't drying out in the meantime. And then what I will probably do is just run a strip of Velcro down the middle here. And I've kind of measured off where that would be. All right, and then these little cups just basically sit here. So I'm going to have to okay, I think that's good. All right. So that one will go down the middle. And this one will go at the front. Okay. So now I would have one there. And I would have one here. Actually, this one could probably come forward a little bit. So before it really sets up, I can kind of move it a bit. It's a little bit wiggly, but again, I think once there's paint in there, it probably is okay. I could put a wider Velcro strip there that covers the full width of this as well. Now, I can always pull these off. If I can't open them, I can just pull them off and then stick them back down. I'm wondering if I should get the wider. I think I'm going to get the wider Velcro on there so they don't toggle sort of back and forth. Okay, so this is actually 5/8 inch. I unfortunately don't have any of the other sides of the dots, or they'd have been perfect. So I'm going to pull this up and put the wider strip down. This will also give me some flexibility in placement. Yeah, that's definitely more stable. So I think we'll go with that. And I essentially can get 5 in each row, so that's 15 colors. So it's a little bit less colors than what I have. But again, I think I can pare it down, or if I need to take some supplemental colors, I don't think they'll fit in these little ones. I can throw a few extra colors in here. Okay, so I cut a few more strips. Now this Velcro is stuff that, you know, I've had laying around my studio here for a while, just in big rolls that we used to use for signage when we were doing trade show stuff for our clients. So I have a lot of it just sort of sitting here. But you can certainly buy Velcro. I think even at the hardware store, Home Depot sells it. And definitely in smaller batches. You don't need to get the 100-foot roll or whatever it is I have here. And these little cups, they just came in a bag. Found these on Amazon. Again, I'll put all the links to all these supplies in the thing below, but these were just some little cups. I don't think they have the size on here. But I had to look through a whole bunch of them just to make sure that I could get a size that fit inside these little containers. Yeah, they're only an inch tall, which makes them great because they can actually fit in a lot of different things. And I do have, you know, extra. These came in, I don't know, I think a pack of 25. So I can always fill more colors that are in here, and depending on where I'm painting or what I'm painting, I can always just swap them out. At least that's my thought. I will have to actually take these out and use them, and I will let you know how this went. I'm waiting for some new gouache paints to come. It's a different brand I'm going to try that was on sale, so I thought I would try them because gouache is not cheap paint. Okay, so now I've got my little thing, and again, you know, it's stuck on there, so I don't have to worry about the, you know, the paint tipping over or spilling out. These things are far enough apart from each other. I shouldn't contaminate them, right? And I can just pull them off, open it, put it back down, and I've got a little paint well to go. Now, you could probably also use this for watercolor. These are probably a little bit deep for watercolor. There may be some smaller, you know, some flatter containers out there. Because when they get really wet, it's really hard to transport them. And then this would just go in here. And get that little piece of Velcro out, right? All right, and then I just throw in my little water bottle. Again, if I need to throw in one of these little containers to hold the things, and then everything just closes up into this great compact little thing. And I can even throw my little palette on top. And it's really good to go. Super lightweight, durable, waterproof. And I've got sort of two lines of defense here for leaks. I've got the little cups, and then I've got this as well. So if it, you know, is tilted, stuff isn't going to leak out. I will also put below links to all of these things, and as well as I will try to do a cost analysis, meaning I will sort of add up the cost of all of this, just to give you a rough idea of what the cost might be. Now, I had to buy these as a set, so I got all these extra little ones as well. So again, you could do, like I also do watercolor. So if I like this, I may actually use these two for watercolor. And then I've also even got a little palette here if I needed it, right? So there's always, you know, the extra little boxes that come. Okay, I will let you know how this works when I get it full of paint and give it a trial run.